See, this ADF framework is based on which architecture? Ah, yes, it is based on MVC architecture. So what is this MVC architecture? MVC architecture here is M stands for model, V stands for view, C stands for controller. So what do you mean by this? What exactly you mean by this MVC architecture? What it is? See, I'll make it interactive. You have to, you can answer, you can stop me at any point of time. I don't want it to be an one-way communication because you are all experienced folks. You already have knowledge. What I do is I just facilitate it.
So as far as my area, we did something where we customize the presentation of data to the user. In terms of getting up.
So it's called as an architecture. When you build a web application, you build a web application using this architecture. If you don't build a web application using this architecture, your web application would be tightly coupled. Tightly coupled means maintenance is very difficult. Loosely coupled means maintenance is very easy. So MVC is a design pattern. What is design pattern? We will see it later. So it's one of the architecture. So it's one of the best architecture for preparing your web applications. See, this architecture, it's not only to IT industry. See, this architecture, I can take complete 6 months to tell this architecture itself, but still you will not understand anything. But I can take even 10 minutes and tell you this complete architecture. So it's something like your Ramayanam. So in serial, when I was a kid, I used to see this Ramayanam for how many? For 4 years it came, I think, 4-5 years. But this complete Ramayanam can be told in just 3 words. Katte, Kotte, Tache. Katte means he built the dam. Kotte, he killed Ravana. Tache means he got back Sita. The same thing. That's all. That's complete Ramayana. The same thing here also. My MVC architecture, I can explain it in a very simple terms. See here, first, it's a design pattern. Let me open my paint. See, now what happens is, see, there are 3 things. I represent this using these boxes. So what are the 3 things you have? Model, view, controller. Forget those terms now. So now I am taking an hotel analogy. In the hotel, what happens? You have a customer, and next is you have a person who takes the order. I can call him as waiter. Is it okay? Or you want? I'll call him as order taker. And next is you have another person here. This is your kitchen where your chef is working. Chef in kitchen. Now what I will do is let me go back home. See, this kitchen, what you will have is, you will have multiple things. You will have Chinese, Indian. There are multiple chefs for this. And then Mexican, American. You have lots of dishes. So now your customer, what he will do, your order taker will come and he will take the order from the customer. And this order, what he will do, he will map it to the kitchen. He is acting as a controller. What he is doing, he took the order. After taking the order, he has given it to the kitchen. And in the kitchen, what you have is the business service is there. What is the business service? They prepare the food. You have all the details, like you have rice, salt. The raw materials are available in the kitchen. So it's a business service because what it will do is it will prepare the dishes what is required. So your order taker will take that order and give it to the kitchen. But in the kitchen, to which order he will give? If it's a North Indian order, he will not give it to a Mexican order, Mexican chef. He will give it to Indian chef. So if it's an Mexican dish, he takes that one and map it to the Mexican chef. So now this order taker is acting as a controller. Now next is, this is your business service, your kitchen, where you are getting your food, where your food is prepared. Now once the food is prepared, it's been given to order taker. Now order taker, what he will do is, most of the times he will decorate your order, your food item, he will decorate it. He will not give it directly to the customer like that itself. So what is the decoration he will do here is, so what he will do, he will do some decoration. He can see, for example, if it's some dish, what he will do, he'll put coriander as a decoration, or else like if it is something else, he'll put a tomato slice. He decorates, and then what he will do, after decoration is done, he will give it back to the customer. So this is, we call it as model view controller architecture. So it is existing with us, even our people are using, because it's a design pattern. We call it as design pattern because when you do continuously something, you always look for increasing the performance. When you repeatedly do, you always look for increasing the performance. And this is one of the best method for increasing performance in the hotel. See, if you ask customer to directly go to the kitchen and give the order, but you know kitchen is a mess, the customer may get lost. The customer, once again, he will not come back to you, to that hotel itself, because you know in the hotel they use all third grade quality items. They use, leave that one, so I'm recording it, so you know that one what is happening. So customer comes, sees inside the kitchen what is happening, he'll next time he will not come back. So this is a design pattern. So that's the reason what happens is, he is not allowed to go to the kitchen inside. Rodents will be there sometime, rats will be there. We will see that. So fine. So it's a design pattern. So now, friends. So in this case, what we will do is, we will see what it is. Now here, tell me, this customer is acting as, yes, excellent, view. He is acting as view. Next, Our order taker is acting as controller. And next, our kitchen people, they are acting as model. Model, now you have to tell me. So I'll just map it now. Model, is it user? No. What is user interface here? See here, this is view. That is the user interface. How we get the photo. So here in our case, user interface is nothing but web pages. So that is your view. Model is your view. Sorry, this is where I make mistakes. View is your user interface. Model, what you will have? Model, what you have? Business services. So what is this business service here? When I take it in a computer term, the business service here is, see, you have to fetch the data, right? Where the data is present, it is present in the database server and it is present in the database. So here business service, what it will do, it will fetch the data. Anything else? Fetch the data and perform operations on data. So it is, so what it does, the business services, it does data intensive, or I call, instead of intensive, I use the term data related work or operations. Simple terms. Now next, your view is user interface. And what is controller doing? Something was happening. What controller was doing? It was mapping your user requests. If the controller was not there, no one is there to map the user requests. So what it will do, it will map the user request. So this is about controller. So your ADF, when you are building a web application, you will build three things. One is you will build model, another one view, another one controller. First you build a business service. So you have a hotel, but there is no chef. Can it work? First, what you need to build? Kitchen should be present, right? So that's what. First, see, this is one of the pattern. So first, what you have to do in ADF application is you have to build the model. That is nothing but business service. And next, what you do is you build controllers, and then you build UI. So this is how normal, like our applications, day-to-day activities, how it is working. The same thing we have got here also. Please. A very good question, Amar. Amar, right? Amar, what we do is we build model, view, and controller. First is you need to build a business service. So then you have to build model. Then UI is nothing but your web pages. So that is view. You will build even web pages also. And then is, I told you, controller. Why controller is required? There will be thousands of web pages in your application. The navigation between these web pages is done by this controller. Thousands of web pages you will have, and this controller is capable of doing this navigation easily. For example, simple example, you take your Gmail itself. You log in. If you give correct user ID and password, you go to the application. That's a navigation. If you give wrong user ID and password, then it will go to the error page. There are two pages once again. One is login page, login successful page, and another one is error page. There is a navigation happening. Navigation means movement. So this movement is represented by controller. So by the end of this course, you should be capable of building model, and next, what is view? Web pages and controller. Controller is nothing but navigation. So like this navigation is the word. This word is derived from Sanskrit. It is called as navigat. Navigat. If you just go back, very old time, if you go back, it's English, they don't have this word, so they took it from this navigat, Sanskrit word. So if you go old back, see why this navigation? Why? Because this navigation was started from India itself. Navigation means it was sea navigation. Sea movements, they started from India. Like Europeans, for them, they used to get the items from India. Most of them, everything, they used to get the items from India. And this Middle East people, they were businessmen at that time. They were middlemen actually. They used to take it from India and they used to sell it to Europe people. But now when Europeans started to come to India, they stopped that Silk Route itself. They closed that Silk Route. Once they closed that Silk Route, two people in Europe, one is Christopher Columbus and Vasco da Gama, they started their navigation to reach to India using sea route. But Christopher Columbus, he went in the north direction. Vasco da Gama came in the south direction. Christopher Columbus, he reached West Indies, America. So in America, when he saw people, he told them they are Indians. But they were not Indians. So till today, natives of Americans, they are called as Red Indians. But this Vasco da Gama, he was coming down, he reached South Africa. He was reaching Africa. When he reached Africa, there he saw these Gujaratis who were doing business in Africa. So that time, for Vasco da Gama to sail, their government, what they have done, they have given a very good, very big ship. They have given it to him for him to sail, because it's a great thing that what he is doing for the country, finding a route. So he got a very big ship. Nowhere that ship is there. So that much big ship he got with all those things. He navigated to South Africa. But in South Africa, what happened is he found this Gujarati people who is doing business. And if your friends are there in anywhere in Africa regions, they are working, they'll come to know that full business in Kenya, Zimbabwe, and a little bit of South Africa, everything is controlled by Gujaratis. So if you have any friends, so it's totally controlled by them there. They are still there. And they are called as, so they don't call, we don't call them, or they don't call themselves as Indians. They call themselves as Kenyans or Zimbabweans or Africans. But they are Gujaratis. They follow the tradition there. Food is not a problem there, because these guys are there for Indians. So now, when he came there, Vasco da Gama came there, these Gujaratis were doing business, and their ship, the Gujarati ship, was more than 20 times bigger than this Vasco da Gama ship. Then what they did was like, so this Vasco da Gama asked, is it India? I told no. So he told, you do one thing, you come with me, I'll take you to India. So then he escorted the ship, like, for small ships, it so happens that they require some security. So like that, this Gujarati businessman who was there in Africa, he escorted that ship, and through navigation they came back to India. And in India they reached a place called as Vasco near Goa. So that's what you can see, that navigation. The navigation, what is happening from there, went to South Africa. From South Africa it came to India. So they use this term, and that movement they represent it as navigation. So here also, the movement between web pages is controlled by controller. Don't worry, it is very, very simple. When we go through the subject, when we go through it, I'll make it so clear you can easily understand it. So this is about model view controller. There are new terms. New terms are there, so your mind will not let you to get it inside. So that's the challenge. Mind will never take a new thing. It will always oppose it. So if I tell you model, business service, but there are no more new terms which I will be adding it. If I add, your mind will not take. But so what I require is, I require your concentration. Small new terms, I will go on adding it. So now, next one. Now I told you ADF is based on model view controller architecture. ADF is used to build web applications, I told you. So here in this case it is interactive web applications. What is interactive web application? Yeah. Not international, interactive.
So when you sign up in the application, if you type the password, same password, you will be interacting with the same.
Somewhere there is an interaction, right? So your user ID and password, there is an interaction. So that is okay. That is interactive. Anything else? Interactive website. It's not just static, you just read and you go. But here it is interactive. So you can build interactive. Yeah, sorry.
Exam is there.
So you can build interactive web applications using ADF, where in which there is an user interaction. See, now also I will tell you, there is an interaction which is going on. If I don't make you to interact, then the session is gone. So when there is an interaction, you like it. If there is no interaction, the same concept is applied here also. Web applications, that what you build, it will be interactive. The components which is used in ADF, they are interactive by default. So that is what you build, interactive web applications. And the second one, complex GUI. What is GUI? Graphical user interface. Like for web applications, like graphs, maps, you can easily present it, or you can easily develop it in ADFs. Graphs, there are lots of graphs actually in ADF. And and if you are building a professional website, you should require graphs, right? So you can build lots of graphs in it, and that too very simple it is. Just drag and drop, you will get the graphs. Maps means like you will get like Google Maps, you have Oracle Maps. You can have your application, you can also have maps for your application. That's great now. And that too, it's very easy. It's not that much difficult. And the third one, your applications are based on, web applications are based on user experience design they are based on UX, user experience design. They are based on something like they are concentrated basically on user experiences. Do you know, like you build a website, but this website, are you taking care of this user experiences? What is user experience?
After using that web page, what are the feelings?
Hey, what is your feeling after using this website?
Convenient.
Convenient. That feeling, it's an broad one, but if you get into that feeling, whether it was good, convenient, were the users able to achieve what they wanted using your website easily, look and feel, and the operations they have to perform it easily, and then it should give a long lasting impact. For example, you take Apple and you take some China mobiles. See the user interface design, user experience in Apple, and see the user experience in some China mobile. User experience in Apple, what happens? It works in your mind. Somewhere some program establishes in your mind, and you get so much attached to your Apple mobile. That user experience, you start loving it. You start falling in a relationship. I use this term, relationship, because you like so much. So I use that word, relationship. You like, and for you, this is the phone. Now the same thing, you take China mobile. Someone have developed some operating system, but there is no user experience at all. He just have developed it. He is a software engineer, or he may be something, he was knowing it. He developed that interface, and you tell me people will like that kind of an interface? Because the interface should cater to different age groups. It should be, it's like young person, adolescent, middle-aged person, and old people. It should cater to all the categories of people. They should be easily using it, and it should give a long-lasting impact. After using, sometimes you see there are some web applications. After it will be very jazzy. So this way one text would be coming, that way one text would be coming, and from top to bottom, like matrix, some other things would be coming, and and the buttons will be flashing, and some flashing things will be there, flashes will be there, wherein which something will be rotating. Okay, you feel while seeing that web page, you feel wow. But if you use the same website for 10 times, if you use the same 10 times in a day, and if you use it for a month, and if you use it for a year, you start getting some kind of a weird sensation in your mind, in your brain, and you don't like to open that website itself. Some weird sensation you will get. Why is that weird sensation in your mind getting? There is a psychology behind it. You have to develop the user experience based on a psychology pattern. So now people are building applications now, but they don't know the psychology pattern. As a developer, do you know the psychology pattern? Do you know the user experience? The user experience, you have to get that degree, 4 years degree you have to get on user experience. Then you can build applications which conforms to that user experiences, user experience design. Cool. So now here, the advantage here is, if you build a web application, the components what you are getting from ADF, they are built using best practices of user experience design. So you need not worry at all. It's not that you want a jazzy website. You never ever have like that. So you require a good user experience, web applications which give satisfactions to the user, not in a short term but in a long run. So that is what user experience. So you have, so what I can tell, is it fine, friends? So this finishes the theory in ADF. Now the second part now is I'll be going to the hands-on. I'll be going to the hands-on complete thing. Very simple it is. So ADF is based on MVC architecture. So what are the three things you need to build in ADF? You need to build business service. What is business service? It is model. Next you have to build UI, that is view. Next, so that is controller. Here is once again controller. Okay, so I'll call for navigation instead of controller. I use the term navigation. I'm using controller. Now what I will do is, first you need to build the kitchen properly. So this kitchen, as I told you, it's nothing but business service. You can build a business service using business service is built using business components. A new word. What is the new word here? Business components. You should get hundreds of questions now on this in your mind, which will run on this business components. Like I told you, in kitchen kitchen is a business service, but in the kitchen you have North Indian, South Indian, Mexican, American. They are all business components. Okay, so now each component is providing one service. So now business service is built using business components. The main components you need to remember here in ADF is one. First component is entity object, new word, and the second component is view object, and the third component is application module. Fourth component is view links. Fifth component is associations. So now what we will do today is we will build an I'll be little bit fast because time is up. So I'll be little bit fast, but tomorrow we will see it once again. What we need to build here is we need to build entity. See, this are all business components. When you want to build a business service, you require this business components. See, when you go to a pizza, you order a pizza. When you order a pizza, the first thing is base should be ready. So in the base, you have one base, but the toppings will be different. The toppings can be like you can have Mexican, Chinese, and I think you regularly visit pizza corners. So what are the other toppings you have? Extra cheese, then something. You have different varieties. Base is one, but you have different toppings. So my wife knows this. My wife, she loves pizza so much. So I think I ate with her one month 4 pizzas I used to eat, and then I gained lots of weight. And till today also I'm not able to get rid of this weight because of this. We used to go to this pizza corner, and we used to had this large pizza which was 750 rupees with extra cheese, everything. Every month I used to have. Then 6 months I gained around 15-20 kilos. I have gained it already. So now I want to reduce. I'm not able to reduce this weight. It's fine. But so this is what. First we are building the pizza base, and then afterwards what we will do is we will add the toppings. Different kinds of toppings to this pizza base we will add it. One person will require Mexican pizza, so same base, give Mexican flavor, give it. Another person, he wants Indian spicy, so do that one, give it. Another person wants something, do that and give it. So here now this session we are building only pizza base by using business components. Then the toppings part of it, different flavors, everything, we build it by using views. Views is web pages. Okay, first build the base, pizza base you build, then afterwards you build the user interface. First you build a base. So now these are all the different business components. So now first we will see entity object. So what is this entity object? Say, you know tables, right? In ADF, table is represented using an entity object. What is a table? What it contains? You know, na table. It has got records and it has got columns. Have you written select queries anytime?
Yeah, I heard of
Engineering, which this one yours? Electron. But you know table, na? You have written SQL query. Okay, so that's a table actually. The table is represented as an entity object in ADF. First you need to do this one. You need to get the table and you need to represent in the ADF as an entity object. Why? You need to ask why here. The table is a relational model. Entity is an object oriented model. So everything should be in object oriented fashion. So just see, you need to bring this table in the JDeveloper. So when you are bringing this table to the JDeveloper, in the JDeveloper, that is in the ADF, it is called as entity object. I am using the term object, entity object. And now the next one, entity object is nothing but table. How do you get the data from an entity object? Do you agree?
Yeah.
Yes, we have to write queries. So that is nothing but view object. A query is represented in ADF using view object. And next, application module. Now, query should run somewhere. There should be a container to run this query. Application module is the container to run your query. So here what is query? So it's a container for view objects. Can you run multiple queries? So you can run multiple view objects in the application model. It's It's a container for your view objects. Now what I will do is I will change it. Now that's what I am telling. The mapping now you know table, but when I come to ADF, the table is represented by entity object. So whenever I tell entity object, your mapping should go to the table. Whenever I tell a view, your mapping should go to the query. Whenever I tell application model, it's a container for executing your view objects. Takes time. Takes time. So now it's a container for view objects plus it provides transactional capabilities. What do you mean by transactional capabilities?
So fetching or not taking it.
Somewhere near but not. What is transaction?
Set up operations as a model.
See, transactional capabilities, you have two things. One is commit and other one is rollback. What is commit?
If operation is completed and we are getting the right thing, we will come.
Commit to the database. Rollback means
If something goes wrong, we have to get back to the original one. I mean, previously.
that is rollback. Now we will see. If you take see why this commit and why I call it as a transaction. Transaction has got some properties. I'll tell you. See, I can tell this commit rollback and I can continue, but I still want to put across those details to you. Many of them they don't know. Many of them means even they are working in the industry, they will not be knowing it. See, this transactional capabilities is, say for example, now one small transaction I'll take. See, you want to withdraw the money from your bank. Now you have with say you want to withdraw some money in your bank and your balance is 6,000 rupees. If you withdraw 1,000 rupees, what should be your balance? Balance is equal to balance minus 1,000. And now the balance is how much? 5,000. Now suddenly what happened? Current went down. Now what happens? The balance is not reflected to the database. Now see here, you have withdrawn 1,000 rupees, balance should become 5,000, but current went down. This operation is not performed. Then what will happen? It has to roll back, or else it will create a problem. Money is not given, but money is, I should get it from the ATM, but it did not dispatch money. It has done balance is equal to balance minus 1,000. Is the transaction complete? No. It cannot commit to the database. It should roll back because money is not given to the user. So here, when you see here, transaction is atomic. Atomic means it is one. Either it should be completed or it should be rolled back. If one of the operation in the transaction is also not executed, the transaction should be rolled back. For example, another one I will tell you. See, you have ICICI Bank and other one is Citibank. ICICI Bank, you will transfer. See, your balance here is 6,000 and here the balance is 5,000. So if you transfer 1,000 rupees, so here balance will become 5,000 and here balance should be balance plus 1000, and here there should be commit, and here there should be commit. So only commit happens, then only what happens? It's made permanent. So now see here, balance is 5000, it is committed. See, this is not two transactions. I wanted to tell you, this is not two transactions, there is no two commits. So